What's happening?
Should you answer it? Do you know the number? Laura interview, take 1. I'm nervous. Ever since I can remember, I was singing and making up songs, really long, like obnoxious songs. I remember I wrote, a song for my uncle in New York that was like, I love you, Uncle Tony, even if I don't agree with you politically. And I was like 5, so obviously I have no idea where that came from. I was always writing, always like expressing myself through songs. I started taking piano lessons when I was 9. I started doing kind of these amateur writing sessions, and when I was 11, I was taking singing lessons, and so I was just always doing it, but I had no idea on how to really break into the industry. I was obviously an actress, but it's a very different industry. And so then I got Austin and Ally, and it was pretty cool, and I felt it was pretty lucky that I was playing a part that was literally a songwriter. I connected with the character so much, and through that, I met my music managers, and then that's how I got my first record label too. In different sessions and figuring out what I wanted to write about, I always had ideas and had like melody ideas and lyric ideas, but I wasn't really feeling safe and secure in what I wanted the overall sound to be like. And so I'm super, super into Pink. Like Pink is like my number 1. I think she's awesome. And so a lot of the music was actually kind of reminiscent of like pop rock. But then when I would write, the songs I would write would kind of be a little bit more pop and a little bit not as pop rock. And so we kind of got this combination of songs that were like not cohesive. All separately good songs that I'm super proud of. Like I recorded in 2016, one song I wrote in 2015. That I ended up writing with Jason Mraz, which is pretty cool. But they all didn't totally make sense with each other. But I do kind of feel like everything happens for a reason, because I think that wasn't truly who I was as an artist. And I feel like if I released that stuff, as me, as Laura, it wouldn't have made sense, and it wouldn't, I don't think, have been the kind of music that I actually really would have wanted my fans to listen to as a cohesive unit. Kind of actually announced the deal the day of the Kids' Choice Awards, which ended up being like kind of a huge, awesome day for me and for Austin and Ally. And so it was like kind of the best day of my life, because I announced a record deal, and I ended up winning a Kids' Choice Award, and the show won one, and we went bowling afterwards, and it was awesome. But the deal hadn't even been worked on yet. We just both thought it was gonna be a great day to announce. And so the deal wasn't actually done, and I couldn't actually really start working on music with them until July, and the Kids' Choice Awards was in March. So that, in that way, took months and months to just even work on that deal and to finally get started on music. Boombox was an outside song, and actually my manager sent it to me. I was such a jerk with outside songs, because I'm pretty controlling, and I really like to be in control of everything when it comes to my career, and especially with writing, music can be pretty personal. So whenever I would get an outside song, I kind of would instantly be like, nah, don't like it, it sucks, even if it didn't, but I would just kind of be not super into it. And so my manager sent over Boombox, and I was like, oh man, I can't lie, this song is awesome. I'm really, really into it. It's so catchy, it's so fun. I was in love at that point, and it was such a fun love song, and so I was like, oh yes, this is the song. And so we released it, and we made a video for it, which ended up going really, really well. And we ended up not going to radio with it, which, again, kind of reasons that are unfortunately out of an artist's control. And so then after Boombox, I did quite a few more writing sessions. One of the sessions was for Lala, and Lala was again, just something that felt really right, and felt so right in the room. Everything went so fast. I've had some sessions that the writing portion lasted 12 hours, and then we didn't even record the song. Lala, we wrote and recorded it at 7 p.m. for 4 hours. Okay, let's put it out. Maybe let's go to radio with this one. Let's figure it out. And we had a date and everything. And then again, it kind of fell through. And so by the end of the process, I had paid for an album, and I wasn't able to really release it in the way that I wanted to, especially with the past 2 singles. You know, my managers and I were kind of like, what do we do? And we were in this kind of weird position where, you know, it all ended up working out. We ended up talking with everyone at the label and figured out and realized that maybe that's not the best place for me. And so we decided to move on to another label. Balancing acting and music is pretty complicated. They're 2 different jobs. For me, they're both jobs of expression, and you know, that was kind of part of the complication as well for releasing music. So, you know, I ended up being in the process of signing with another label. Once that deal was done, I got this awesome movie that has a pretty crazy cast. My second label, again, took a really long time. It took a bit to get out of my first record deal. I went to Warner Brothers and I'm like, can I film this movie? I know we just signed this deal. And they were like, yes, of course, go for it. And so I finished that film, and around the same time as I was finishing that film, I got the opportunity to produce and star in a movie that was very close to my heart, a movie called Saving Zoe that my sister, my mom, and I have owned the rights to for 10 years. Timing doesn't always, you know, go the way you want it to. And the opportunity that we had was literally right after War with Grandpa, we'd have to go into shooting this film. And so I finished, you know, Saving Zoe, and that was amazing and challenging and, you know, incredible and hard and every opposite dynamic you could possibly feel. And while I was filming the movie, people at at Warner Brothers, started not working there anymore. And so the same people who signed me weren't part of the company anymore. Again, I really do feel like everything happens for a reason, but I always wonder, like, okay, if I didn't have those 2 movies and I went straight into recording, you know, what difference would have been and what would have happened. One thing I should mention about the first movie that I filmed, War with Grandpa, was that it was a Harvey Weinstein distributed film. So that obviously got complicated. It's November of 2017, and I've recorded a bunch of music. I've recorded an album for my first label. I've recorded a second album of new music that I actually feel really, really good about. But, you know, I have all this music, and I've filmed 2 movies, and I haven't shown anyone anything. And it was, all of a sudden, it was so frustrating. And I was kind of like, when are people gonna see or hear anything that I've done? It was one of those moments where I'm like, I'm acting and singing and doing both for both jobs, and yet I feel like I haven't shown anything with either job. The past 2 years, like 2017 and 2018, have just been a bit of a roller coaster, both professionally and personally. You know, while kind of everything was happening professionally, so going, you know, between 2 different labels, filming 2 different movies and not really knowing what's gonna go on with the 2 movies, I was also going through a breakup, and, you know, it was my first breakup, and it was really tough. And, you know, I still have moments where I struggle with it, and it's such a amount of loss. I mean, that's what was just kind of so weird with the past 2 years. There's like so much loss. With loss came a lot of, you know, amazing opportunities and amazing new beginnings. And so I also, you know, started falling in love again. And it's been just such a weird year of like grieving and beauty. And it was kind of the first time that I would go into a writing room and I couldn't stop talking about everything that happened to me personally, which was very different when I was first writing. You have to trust that things happen the way they're supposed to happen. With everything that's been complicated and challenging and even painful in the last 2 years, there have been a lot of amazing things. There really have been. So one thing, which is made up of a bunch of tiny little things, is traveling. I've gotten to travel so much, which has been so awesome and so cool. I kind of started my journey traveling to Dubai on the large list of travel that I've done in the past 2 years. I went to Dubai for the first time, which was amazing. And, I got to perform there, which was incredible. It was actually a really surreal moment of my life. It was like all these people and, I played keys and it was awesome. A few months later, I was traveling kind of all over America for these awesome radio shows and for like different performances at fairs. And so I kind of got to go all over America, which was really cool. And then I went to Atlanta for like 3 months to film 2 different movies. I was gone for so long. I went from being in Atlanta to going to New York to write, and then going to Sweden. And it was my first time traveling by myself internationally. And that was like a little intimidating, but really, really, really cool. And Sweden was awesome. I didn't really get to see much of it because I was just writing and I was in a room for like all the days except the last day. But it was so, so awesome and so beautiful, and the people were so lovely. So I was just not in my bed for like months, which was like kind of crazy. And then I actually moved from my house to like my own place, which that's been kind of a big step of my life and exciting. And then I've gone to Australia a bunch, and Australia is beautiful. And so that's been amazing. I'm just gonna travel all over, and it's been a little exhausting, but it's been amazing. I don't think you can only truly grow when you're hurt, but I think you grow the most when you're hurt, and you grow the most out of pain and painful things that happen. And so in a way, you kind of have to be grateful for those things. And I think in the past 2 years, with everything happened, I've grown a lot. And I'm proud of that growth, and I'm proud of the attitude that I've kind of had to have, which is keep going. I like to keep my career and my personal life separate, which is increasingly hard in a business that's not only, made up of you having a public persona, but also made up of, art and creativity that kind of stem from your personal life. So it's really tough. And I think for me, I'm still kind of trying to find the balance of what feels right and organic to me and what I can kind of protect myself with. Personally, just to live life to the fullest and keep feeling the extreme feelings that I have felt in the last year. I've never felt so emotionally exhausted, but I guess in a good way. My managers and I discussed kind of the past 2 years and everything that's happened, and how obviously beyond frustrating it's been for us. It's been just so frustrating for any of my fans. So frustrating. And us really kind of telling them things that we've been told, and all of a sudden things change. And so now, we look like we've kind of not really been completely truthful with them, and them not really feeling like they can trust things that we say and things, but even with all that, them being pretty incredibly supportive. And when we were talking about everything, my whole thing was we have to do something for my fans, and we have to release for my fans, in a very kind of scary decision, but exciting. It really feels right, but we've decided to go independent. Realizing it's a lot more work. We've really been getting our, ducks in a row and figuring how we want to do it, what we want to do, where we want to do it, when we want to do it, and finding the right kind of partner on the distribution side. Our next step is just releasing, and I'm excited, but I'm scared. I mean, it's definitely even more raw doing it by yourself and doing it independent. And so I'm really gonna, need us all to kind of rally together and do it together, which is what we have been doing. But, the past 2 years, we've kind of taken a hot minute of a break because of everything. The last time I released something was 2016. The music's definitely different than what they've heard. So it's kind of exciting because it feels like a new beginning, like I'm kind of starting all over again, which is exciting but terrifying. It's so terrifying. It's so scary. Okay, guys, I know it's been 2 years, and I know you have been beyond patient, and I'm doing it. Like, I'm finally doing it. I'm in control, and I'm so excited for you guys to hear this music, and I want to thank you so much for being there for me for the past 2 years, and future thank you for how much you're going to be there for me for this music, because I'm really, I'm doing it for us. I'm doing it for me, for you guys to finally hear stuff, but I know how patient and how much you've wanted this music, and so I want you to hear it. I want you to get behind it, and I love you guys so much. I can't even express how hard it's been in the past 2 years, and how just complicated and a bit painful. And anytime I would ever see any of your messages, they would just literally make my day. You have no idea. So thank you. And we're doing it. We're doing this together. It's finally happening. So thank you. Yes.